So for anyone who doesn't know you and is watching this episode, can you introduce yourself?
So, my name is Remon. I was born in a small town between Cologne and Düsseldorf in Germany. I grew up there, lived all my life, and very close to that place also went to uni, studied medicine, and now working as a doctor. My parents are from Egypt, and they went to Germany in the 70s when there was like big job opportunities in Germany. They also took the chance and worked in Germany, and yes, got 2 children. My brother is 2.5 years older. We always joke he is older, but somehow I am more mature. I hope he doesn't hear that. But he is a funny, cool guy, and somehow I was always the more serious guy.
When you think now of your childhood,
Uh-huh.
did you mostly have good memories, or did you have like that feeling a lot of people have, oh, we don't really fit in this neighborhood. We are only, for example, I told Mariam yesterday, I was maybe we were only 1 or 2 colored families in our village. So how did you feel when you grew up in your place?
No, we were very much accepted. I played in the basketball team. My brother played in the football team. My dad was a local fan of a football club. We were very much integrated. I still have friends I know since I'm 5 years old, and I'm still in contact with them. Wonderful, wonderful people. I would say I was very lucky that this is the town where I was growing up and which I'm allowed to call my home. It's it's full of very nice people. I know things change with the time. I was one of the only foreigners, or I was one of the only people at that time which had foreign backgrounds. So it was much easier for them to accept me, because I was just one of a kind. But now, after the refugees in the starting 2010, 2012, with the Arab Spring, of course, that overloaded these towns with refugees. And then unfortunately, this happened that the acceptance and of course the welcome cultures went a little bit down, unfortunately. But I know that 10% of all Syrians went to Germany. That's like quite a huge number, of course.
Yeah, exactly. I remember it was a
And that
quite
was
big
just
number.
Syria, without Afghanistan, without lots of other countries. Yeah.
Yeah, and I assume you've been back home since then.
Yeah.
How do you feel like the changes to the people when you go to a shop or you buy something?
Yeah. So back in the days, it was easy to integrate because there was nobody else to integrate. So it was just me and a few other families. We are the only Arab background families. I think there were a few Turkish background families and a few Italian and Greek. So it was more like we didn't start to hang out with a Turkish family or with the Italian family. We were just part of a community and everyone was hanging out together in one big family. And what's happening now is, unfortunately, that a lot of Syrians, of course, and Afghanis and the same, like all this they built inside the town like as in small bubbles. And you can see it once you enter the town. You go through the train station and then you find like a small like 20 or 30 Arab talking people together. And then just this has changed a little bit the picture of the whole town. Because before that, there was just not 20 other Arabs I could hang out with. There was just me and my German friends. And then, of course, we were talking German together, and it was just very different.
It's like you didn't have a choice. You had to integrate because there was only a few of you. And I compare this with Brighton, where I grew up in the UK. We have 5,000 Coptic families in Brighton.
Oh, wow.
So we have a bubble there. So a lot of people know each other, and the events, the barbecues, the Christmas, you name it. We live in a bubble there. So then I see a lot of people have just a very few non-Coptic friends as a result of that. But you managed to integrate and make friends before this happened, and you managed to integrate much better, and that's why you managed to say the place near Cologne and Düsseldorf you call your home.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was for them interesting to know me, and for me very interesting to know them. Like at home, my mom always used to cook Arabic food, and when my friends came over, they loved it because they never had the chance to eat Egyptian food. And to be very honest, my mom didn't really do schnitzel and bratwurst and this kind of food stuff. So, and I remember one of my friends, his mom was making these super delicious baguettes. And I loved going after school to his home because she made the most perfect sandwiches I can imagine. But that is not a thing in the Egyptian culture, like having just a nice sandwich packed with nice ingredients. So for me,
Yeah.
it was like this kind of, I call it the Arabic word tabir. It was like everything was like always like a heavy meal and not just a nice light sandwich. And
Yeah.
I love to just having like a sandwich.
Yeah, it's in the culture, right? When you go visit
Yeah.
families,
Yeah.
you know, the table is full of food. You have to eat.
Exactly.
You cannot
You have
say
to
you're
eat.
not hungry. No choice. Yeah, and the other thing is, if you say you would like to drink just water, they feel offended. So you have to
Yeah,
drink the
exactly.
heavy stuff, right? The
Exactly.
Coke,
Yeah,
Fanta.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's something you said about the sandwich, which reminded me also from my childhood, because we are used to having the food and the culture from our parents.
Yeah.
But when I used to go to school with my friend, he used to give me also some stuff from his lunchbox, some
Oh, yeah, yeah,
not just the chocolate, but also the
yeah,
sandwich and the
yeah.
snacks, the fruits. So you remind me of that
Mm,
as well. So tell me the next step from there. So you grew up in the place near Cologne, Düsseldorf. Then
yeah,
you went to school there. And then when did you start your you went to university? Was it also from near there? And then what
yeah.
happened after?
Um, so actually I went to the German army. I had to do my
Yeah.
1 year service. That was a very funny time in my life. I was struggling with a lot of rules, and I don't know, the first 2 or 3 months they scrapped almost all weekends away from me, and I don't know the English word for it. It's in German called Wache. I would translate more like
Watch.
taking, yeah, watch,
Yeah.
yeah, guarding or something like this. So I was guarding our barrack the weekends as a punishment. Yes, that was looking backwards to it. It was a very good learning process for me to learn discipline and to learn to be self-dependent. So I can live outside from home, outside from very comfortable mommy making my food every day and washing my clothes, and then all of a sudden being in the army and you have to wash your own clothes and you have to be like, you just have to do everything yourself. And you have, yeah. And that was the next step in my life.
How old were you?
19.
19. Give us like a glimpse. How did the day look like in the army when you started?
Okay, the first 3 months is you have to do all this training. I was actually very excellent in shooting. I don't know why. I never understood why I got this gift from God to be a good shooter, because in the rest of the stuff I wasn't really good, but I don't know why I'm a good shooter. Then you learn like all this kind of stuff, emergency paramedic and marching and how to clean your house. Actually, they show you how to clean everything and how to fold your clothes. And then after 3 months, you go to an officer and he tells you what you need to do for the next 6 months, which is your actual service. And my actual service was in a position which I feel I was just parked because I didn't really need more of these servicemen. I was driving cars around, I was washing cars, but most of the time I was in in transporters, which transported stuff through Germany. And at night, you have to take care of the transporters because it has military equipment. You had to do guarding services. I had to take care of a cell with some prisoners, which was also absolutely crazy because I wasn't really made to take care of prisoners before.
Wait, are these prisoners from Germany or like
Yeah, the
international?
army, the army imprisoners,
Yeah, yeah. So when you did the
Germans.
service, it was okay. And like, why were they in prison? Can you give us like like an example?
These were army members who, for example, took drugs and got
Right,
as a penalty imprisonment, or people who didn't show up in the army. So you have, for example, let's say on Sunday at 10 o'clock, you have to be back in the barrack. And when you just can't be bothered and you're staying at home, the military police will pick you up like on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then they will put you in prison for a few days. So one of the jobs was taking care of these poor guys.
and that's a full prison. Like you stay in the cell the whole
Yes.
day, and there's meal I don't know, 2 times, one time a day, or like.
I don't know how official this one goes, but of course we knew a few people of these people who got imprisonment, and of course we were not harsh to them. Like when we ordered a pizza, we ordered for them a pizza too, and then
Right,
we chilled on the doors and talked to each other, and it was more like there was a door between us, a cell, but it was more like chilling with a
right,
friend.
right,
And I know some of the guys who were smoking opened the doors. They went outside, had a cigarette or a few cigarettes, and then they went back inside the prison. So it's not. I don't imagine that a normal prison is like that, because they were not really this kind of people who, like a normal prison, who kill somebody or something like this. It's more
yeah.
like minor things, and it's just like a punishment. Don't do it again.
It's like when you have a child, you take it to a naughty corner, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the maximum was you can get 21 days.
right, okay,
And I think this was for people who took drugs. So
okay,
that was, I think, tough for these people, because they couldn't receive any family members or anything like this. And they had to be in a very tiny place for 21 days. I hope that's right. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sounds like from outside, it sounds super interesting. And one big word you said, discipline. So, what would you say was the hardest thing for you during that time?
Yeah, the hardest thing was to listen to people, I would definitely say afterwards, who are intellectually much more on the lower side, and who didn't really have any other alternative than going to the army, and to listening to their really stupid orders. That was
Right.
difficult, because it doesn't, for no sense, it made sense. Like it was just like really stupid stuff they were telling us. For example, we were out in a field and they were telling us now everyone should shave. There was no mirror. And I was like thinking, for what? Like, if there's another army outside there, would they care if I am shaved or not? Like, it doesn't really make sense. So we shaved in the middle of a bush, and with like sharp shavers, and cut up our faces, and we had like a billion wounds. And then there was a mixture between dirt and blood and cream in the face, which was burning. And that was just bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
in words. And then I don't know. There are so many. I can't remember all of them, because a few of them I of course forgot. It's now almost 26 years ago. But I just remembered a lot of them. They were just not the smartest cookies, and their orders were just stupid. And now thinking backwards, it was difficult for me to listen to somebody. I know he was a little bit intellectually on the lower side, and I have to listen to what he's saying to me.
So he had a higher rank than you, and you had to
Yeah, he was an
follow the
officer.
rules. Yeah. Okay.
So at the beginning of the army, you're just a small guy and have nothing to say.
Yeah. Yeah. But do you think it's mostly the point of this, I would say, exercise or order
Mm.
was for you to follow orders, the discipline, and to do what you're told, more than it doesn't make sense, it's something silly? Do you think?
Yeah, no, it was to give up your own will, and to start thinking in order and filling out orders, and not to use your brain. But on the other side, this whole doesn't make anything. The whole concept of filling out orders without thinking about it, because then you end up in a world war where you have people who are just filling out orders even though they're against any good thing.
Understand.
So for me it was always, I'm a brain guy. I always use my brain before I do anything. It doesn't matter what it is. And so for me it was tough to not think and just listen, even though it doesn't make any sense. And of course that's why I got so many punishments, because I always asked and didn't accept and gave them a hard time, which also gave me a hard time.
So you're one of those people, huh?
Yeah.
So did you end up in that prison because of
No,
no, okay, not that bad. It wasn't that
no.
bad.
But
Okay.
the punishment for these things are taking away weekends.
Right. Okay.
So almost all my weekends were taken in the army time.
Right. So because you're during the week you have to go
Yeah,
to the army, and weekends you can go home, spend time with the family,
yeah.
and you couldn't do that. Okay. But would you say it's a period in your life where you're glad, you're happy it
Yeah,
happened,
absolutely.
or
Absolutely. I learned their discipline, which is a good thing, because I remember the first time I had to do a 30-kilometer march, for example. My body said after 5 kilometers, poor guy, you need to stop. And then I remember there was an army guy behind me just screaming at me, yelling at me and say, if you give up, you have to do it tomorrow again. And if you give up tomorrow, you have to do it the next day. So you have to do the 30 kilometers. And I remember going beyond this pain and just fulfilling my tasks. And I think this is one thing which kept me for the rest of my life when I was studying, being later in A&E and working as a doctor. There's a, don't
wow.
listen to your body at this time. Don't listen to your needs. Just do your job, get it done, and then maybe later you can get a break. And that's one thing I learned in the army, which is super good to learn.
You raised your stress tolerance to
Yeah.
another level because of that. So you were 19 when you joined. How long did you stay in the army?
1 year.
1 year. Okay. So did that feel like, when you look back, was it a quick year or did it feel really long?
No, it was a good year. It was a good year.
Yeah.
It was. I've got to know some really crazy guys there who drank alcohol. I've never seen something like this before, or never after. I've met just, I think, a crazy amount of people. And for me, everything is a little bit about people. When I'm thinking about my hometown, I'm thinking of people. When I'm thinking of the army, that kind of people was also crazy. I'm happy that I made this experience, and I'm happy to got to know these kind of crazy people there.
And just for context, back in the days, it was not optional. You have to, when
was
you're
not.
18, 19, you have to go to the army.
Yeah,
But
you get a letter.
nowadays it's an option. You can
Yeah,
decline if you don't like.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think just a
Yeah.
few years after me, they stopped it.
Right. Okay. So what happened after? So you came back from the army, and
Mhm.
then is that when you start studying? You went to the university, or
No.
what was the next step?
After that, I did a small. I did a training as a paramedic,
Mhm.
and then I worked a little bit as a paramedic, but I really hated that job because I couldn't really see and smell all this kind of rough stuff which is happening on the streets, car accidents, suicides, all this kind of stuff. And there I've decided to take a small break. I went then a year to Kenya and served there in an NGO, and then after that it was clear for me to study medicine, and then I went to med school.
What was it? What happened there?
I liked being a paramedic and worked there with my paramedic skills, but there was very much limited, and then I wanted to help more. I want to help people more, and that's when I decided to become a doctor. Yeah.
But there's nothing in particular that happened that you saw. A lot of people I know that went to Kenya, they say when you go to Kenya and you come back, you will never be the same person again. Did you have this
Yeah.
kind of feeling also?
Of course, absolutely. I stayed there for a year, and I think there's not one life-changing moment. It's, I think, the whole year's life-changing, slowly. I remember that at the beginning there was no wash machine, for example, and you have to wash your clothes on your hands. And the first time you wash your clothes, you made them bleed because the detergent is so tough on your skin. You wash your t-shirts, and then at the end, at some point, you're not into like, you don't have to have all the time clean clothes because you also can't be bothered to kill your hands the whole time. You live a little bit in a self-neglect a bit because you see it's things that are just not so important about your own life. Other things matter. It's not important to you that you have fancy meals because you see there's poverty, people don't eat at all. So it's something you also see it in your own life. It's not important that you have a fancy meal. You're okay with a bit of rice a whole day and you can live on that. Luxury things like chocolate or like any kind of this, you don't need it anymore because you see there's so much stuff going on that you can't sit there and eat your chocolate bars while people are dying next to you. So you have a shift in your perception of the whole life. And what would yeah, I think that's slow. So you see a slowly change in your life. For example, you people can't afford medical care. This makes you like, this just so sad, like to see people suffering. You see women getting pregnant because they get raped. Then on the other side, they can't really go out and work. So to survive, they become a prostitute. Have to sell them stuff for like a few pennies, or a bit of food. You see these big slums. Yeah, there's just how do you call it? There's in the middle of the road. There's how do you call it in a nice way, like excrements. And when it rains, the whole excrements goes through the whole houses because it goes down the hill. They have it's toilets. You have to pay to go on a toilet. It's just a crazy experience to go there. It makes you very humble. It makes you really that nothing is really important, like from these material things. It's not important to dress amazing. It's not important to have the fancy car. It's not important to have a big house. All these kind of things become not important anymore. And there was a learning process, and it wasn't like one thing. And then on the other side, I don't make it too dark. On the other side, you see how happy these people are without like being super in stress because of diseases or because of no food, because of having to pay like fees. They don't have the money for it. Like even in a slum house, they have to pay house fees. So it's just, but then still they were so happy. So happy. A joy you don't even see in these Western countries, even though they live in the biggest houses, having a billion cars and having, I don't know how much billion on their bank accounts, and you don't see that happiness. Then in the deepest slum and people having nothing there.
So would you say this is something that you recommend for everyone at least once in the lifetime to go through? Maybe not for 1 year, maybe for 1 month. What's your view? So we see a lot of things on TV. It's different to when you actually go and see yourself in person.
Yeah, I don't know if I would recommend this to everyone because I don't think it makes sense to do it, that everyone should do it. I think if you have the chance to, and that's the most important thing, is the mindset. You don't go there to tell them things, you go there to learn. Because if you go with the mindset that you are the greatest European, a great European, a great American, and I'm amazing, and I'm going to show these poor people whatever, then that's a wrong mindset. If you go there and say, I want to learn from these people, that's the only time you will learn, and that's the only time you will gain something. And I think with the right mindset to go there, that's when you can benefit from going there. And then also you have to be a bit resilient to do so, because it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I don't know. I got, I think, 2 or 3 times malaria. I got, I don't know, 7 times typhoid. I end up for, I think, 2 times in ICU. It's not easy. It's just not easy. And remember when the doctor had tears in his eyes when he looked at my file in front of the bed, and I was like, ah, shit, I think I'm in troubles. And then I had to call my mom, and tell her that I'm actually not really well. Like these kind of stuff, I don't think everyone is made to do that. I don't think so. I don't think every mom is able to do so. But yeah, I'm happy that I got this experience. I'm happy that I went through all these kind of stuff. I'm happy that I got malaria or typhoid because I experienced a little bit these kind of things, which also helped me to become a better doctor because I know what it is to be sick. I know what it is to be in ICU and depending on other people, good decisions. So at the end, I would say it was in every aspect a good decision, and I'm happy that I
Wow.
went through it.
Wow. What a story. So you've told 2 life-changing moments so far, your time in the army and your time in Kenya. When the time in Kenya, I think, is very, very personal to you, I can see.
Mm.
And that changed your mindset, I would say, that made you decide you want to become a doctor, put you also in the shoes of a patient because of your illness. I think that would you say that's what's driving you for the rest of your career and for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I think so. I think the one thing I've learned is first of all, that I got skills to help other people is a blessing. And I'm very happy that I got skills to help people. But then also that I'm healthy enough to help people is a blessing. But also that I experience both to be sick and to be healthy is an experience which was, I'm happy that not every doctor has to go through this, but these were just some experience which definitely helping me in my day-to-day life and helping me a little bit to not to lose focus when I'm working because I know why I'm doing this job. But yeah, Kenya is, I would say that was, as you mentioned, life-changing. I would say so. Kenya changed my life. And I think to the better. I hope so.
Yeah. No, I can tell from your eyes lit up when you were talking about Kenya, and I can hear the emotions behind the story when you were talking. It's something that some of my friends, they've been to Kenya and they told me about it, and it's always something I wanted to do. So yeah,
You
I'll
sh-
see if it's still possible.
yeah, you should go. But I will do the travel medicine consultation. What stuff you should take before.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that the reason you got sick there? Like you didn't do anything? Did you just go?
No,
Or?
the stuff is on a long run, you can't do all these safety measurements. For example, you can take anti-malarials for, let's say, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, but after that, then the risk of the side effects of a medicine is too high, then the risk of getting the disease.
Right.
And then you can't take these ongoing. And typhoid is at the end is dirty food. And of course, you can say when you go on a holiday, I take care 14 days of what I'm eating. But then after, let's say, a month or 2 months, you can't really keep this ongoing. You get invited by some people to their house. You can't say, "Oh, sorry, I'm gonna not gonna eat this, or I'm not gonna drink out of your cup." You just go with the flow, and yes, you can get sick.
Yeah, you don't want to be rude.
No, you can't be rude.
So yeah. I have this
No,
with
you can.
Egypt. When I go to
Yeah,
Egypt, I'm
yeah,
careful what I eat, but
yeah,
then
yeah,
I get invited to my family, and
yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. But again, what I always say about Kenya and also about my hometown, for me, it's always about the people and the people I got to know there. I think these were so amazing, wonderful, generous people, even though they had nothing. It was just such a wonderful time. The people there made me feel as if I'm part of their families, even though they didn't know me. They welcomed me in their houses. as a family member, not as a friend, as a family member. When it was being among family and it's not among friends. It wasn't even among people I got to know. It was being in my family, and with still a lot of them I'm still in touch with, because I would say they are now part of my family. Because it's just how they are, super welcoming. One of the famous words there is karibu. I still remember it in Swahili, which means welcome, and that's a culture, karibu.
Love it. It's normally when you move out, or in a lot of times when you leave, and after a few months, you don't forget, but those relationships,
Yeah.
they fall out, because you just drift apart. You live in different countries, different lives, but the fact that you're still in contact, or that you still call them your family, your friends, it's a beautiful thing. Just to clarify, Ramon, and this might be a personal question, just for the people that are watching, can you confirm, just because you are Egyptian, you didn't do it for your parents? You became a doctor because you actually want to help people.
Yeah. Absolutely. No. I was not. What do they say? I wasn't these 5Ds type. Do you remember these 5Ds? Doktor, Daimler-Benz, Demo Khafif, and what was the other one? I don't know. Do you remember that? This joke
No.
about the 5Ds? No?
No.
Okay, no. It wasn't planned.
Right. I always thought it's the doctor, the
No.
lawyer, the
No. My
judge,
parents
whatever.
No, my parents were quite easy with our professions.
Okay.
As long as we don't live on the streets and become drug addicts. They were
Yeah.
quite easy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so I think that's also a good part, because normally when parents push the children to become something, they can resent it. They don't like
Absolutely.
it. They don't like it. Is that how they were thinking also? Okay.
Yeah. I think so, yeah. They were quite cool.
So everyone that's watching, Remon studied medicine, became a doctor, not just because of his parents, but because he wants to help people. So you went to med school in Germany. How did that go? How many years did you study there?
6 years training. I was quite successful. I had, again, the nicest people in med school. We had a study group. We studied together. So many wonderful, so many memories in med school. Every exam was like a big challenge, but you study hard with wonderful people, you pass, and then you have your passing beer, and then you celebrate, and it's just a wonderful time. Med school was a really wonderful time, because the people made it to a wonderful time, not because it's actually super enjoyable, but I was lucky to have very beautiful people there in med school. I would say actually it was a fun time.
Some people say they went through hell to become a doctor, and you said it was fun. So the people made it. I also believe that you attract the people around you. So you come across very nice, friendly, you like to help. And I believe that you surround yourself with those kind of people. So I think that's something that I noticed. How, when you say it was fun, would you say the positives outweigh the negatives, or did you just have fun, and was it that easy for you? Maybe your IQ is over 500?
No. It wasn't. No. Studying is hard, but if you know, so I still have. I'm still in contact with these crazy guys, and if you know that, I don't know. I can name all of them. If Sarah and Mika and Rebecca and Alex and all my buddies there were just studying next to you, and they studied hard. You just opened your book and you also studied hard, and then you had your coffee together, and then you go back and study hard, and then maybe you go in the evening for a run, and after the run you maybe go out to grab a beer or to grab a kebab, and then the next day the same. It's just a fun time. Yes, studying was hard, but I actually enjoyed also the studying bit. It was super fun. It was super fun. Yeah.
The one thing you mentioned is the support and the motivation to study with your friends. You call them your friends, your family, but also the part when you said it's fun to study. I guess when you are truly interested in a subject. Would you say
Yeah,
that that's why
absolutely.
it was
Yeah.
fun, or
Yeah. Yeah, it
okay?
was, but you can also see it the sporty way. Like, you have this challenge, you have to pass it, and you can see it in a sporty way. Like, okay, there's just me and this exam, and you have to pass. You have to jump over this obstacle. You do want to jump off it without breaking your neck, because if you missed like 2 times an exam, then you're out, and you really didn't want that. So it's I even honestly, I saw it fun to go to the exams and pass them.
You're the first person that tells me that, and I'm not sure if I believe you, but
No, maybe it's because also that, as you said, I really love to study, because
yeah,
it's cool stuff.
yeah,
Maybe if you study economics, you have no idea what this is about, because it's some really abstract stuff which maybe you never heard about it before, and you will never hear about it after. But when you study medicine, you study your own body,
yeah.
and you study the nature laws, so you understand yourself and you understand the world better. Like every animal better, you understand everything better.
Mm.
So studying medicine in that way maybe was very, very interesting, and it's fun because you study your own self.
So after the 6 years, so you
Yeah,
studied medicine in Germany, and then you start your first job
yeah,
in Germany.
yeah,
Tell us about the next step.
yeah. I work straight after um in a huge town called Duisburg, um, which is called more of a worker town. Um, a lot of poverty. It's a bit of a difficult place, and I worked there for. It was planned to work there the whole time. Um, During med school, I've got to know my future wife. We've got married, and then I was working in Germany, and she was working in Edinburgh as a doctor too. And then we planned our holiday to Japan. We had an amazing time. And I think after Japan, we were thinking, okay, how are we now putting our two lives now together? We are married. I'm working in Germany. You're working in Scotland. And she had still half a year of her specialty training. So what I did then was becoming a houseman. Do you call it in English so? A houseman?
Stay-at-home dad.
Stay-at-home
No,
dad?
stay-at-home dad. You weren't a dad.
Because I wasn't a dad.
Yeah, yeah.
A man of leisure? I don't know how you call it.
Stay-at-home husband.
The
You were
stay-at-home
a stay-at-home
husband.
husband.
I got out of my job as a doctor and went to Mariam to Edinburgh and stayed there with her for 6 months. She has to finish her specialty training,
Right.
and I wanted to live with my wife, of course. So I gave up on my job, and then I went to Scotland and lived with Mariam, which was a really fun time too.
Yeah.
Scotland is beautiful.
It is beautiful, and the nicest
Yeah,
people. We were talking about it
yeah,
yesterday as
yeah,
well in the podcast.
yeah. You
And
can't stay alone in Scotland because everyone talks to you, which is
yeah,
so nice.
yeah, like you want to just have some peace and quietness,
Yeah,
and someone will
it's impossible.
approach you, say, "Are you okay?"
Yes. No bus is. You can't stay by yourself in a bus because at some point somebody
Yeah,
will talk to you, which is so nice. It's a
yeah.
very nice, friendly culture. I love Scotland. Yeah, and then we stayed for half a year in Scotland.
So you stayed half year in Scotland together.
Mm.
Did you specialize in anything? Because you said
No,
that
at that time, no.
you
I was
weren't
just
okay.
working. Yeah, no.
Okay, and when you went to Scotland, so you had to sacrifice your side because you.
It was actually okay because I lived there on her cost. It was actually absolutely fine. We had a beautiful flat. I woke up late, watched TV, read books, did lots of hikes every day, cooked good food for both of us. It was actually really cool. I bought a bike and did huge, long, distant rides. It was really cool. It was actually a cool time.
But when you go back to before you moved,
Mm.
were you living by yourself in
Yeah.
med school? Okay,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
assume that helped when you go to your family, your brother, your parents. You say you're moving out, you're
yeah,
leaving.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
you got married. They understand you're moving out.
yeah.
But how
Yeah.
did they react? What did you tell them?
No, because they used of me leaving them the whole time, leaving to Kenya, leaving to the army. So since I'm
Yeah,
18, I wasn't living at home anymore. That was for them okay.
yeah, yeah,
Not a big
yeah.
thing.
That's
I think it was more tough for some of my good friends in Germany, actually more than to my mom, because she's used to that. Um, yeah, because as like some of my friends, yeah, it is really precious to me. Of course, it's with time your relationship changes to some people, but I wouldn't really see anything of that negative way. You try your best to keep in contact. I try to keep in contact as much as I can with some people, but I think what is always in my memory is like the past, the wonderful past. So I think I would call them lifelong, my friends and family, even though they're not present and maybe I didn't speak to them in months or in years. But I'm so thankful that they were so many of them were part of my journey. I think I'm just my lifelong thankful for that because without any one of them, my life wouldn't be the same like how it is. And of course, I don't see friendships as something given. It's something somebody gives his trust to you and thinks you're worthy to become their friend. So I'm always seeing it as quite a gift somebody gives to me if he or she is my friend.
wow. I think this is you're very philosophical.
No, no,
And
I'm not.
it's romantic. I'm looking for the word, but it's actually interesting that you see it this way. When other people, this person has stopped messaging me, I'm always the one that has to call or message. Oh, that's it. I'm not going to make an effort, and then it becomes, oh, this person makes more effort than this person, and that's why we are not going to talk again.
Hmm,
I don't see that with you. You're very chilled. You're very you
right.
treasure, you cherish the past, your memories. What's your secret?
No, no, no. I don't know. I think in every place I've been, I've just met amazing people. I don't know. Even now in Switzerland, we are very blessed with the people we've got to know. We got to know you and your wife and your beautiful kids. I don't know. I'm just so lucky in this life that everywhere I go to, I meet amazing people. I don't know if everyone is so lucky, but I would call myself super, super, super lucky.
I think also it has to do with your reflection of, because this is what I mentioned earlier, you're always being kind and friendly and respectful to other people. But also, I think now I got to know you much better. I can also see that you see the good in people. So you tend to, I think you're a positive person. You see the good in people rather than try to find an excuse to stop talking to that person or
Yeah.
having an argument or whatever. Would you say that's the person you are, or
I would say so. I would
yeah,
say so. Life's too short to be angry.
yeah,
And I think the biggest treasure we have are, I would say, people, no? It's much more important than cars and houses and money and whatever. Maybe it's also a bit of working in this medical field now since I'm a paramedic, that's 20 years. Life is short. Life can be
yeah?
very, very, very short. And if you go bitter through life, I think you just miss out. And then if you go through life and meet these amazing people, your life becomes just so much richer and tasteful and nicer.
And that's something so important, because who loses out
Yeah,
is
yeah,
yourself, right? So
absolutely.
if you are bitter inside and you're
Absolutely.
resenting someone and all the negative things that you carry inside, you're the one that loses out.
Absolutely.
There's no winner in a situation like this. So I hope anyone that's watching, even if it's one person that can take away this part,
Yeah,
I can absolutely say that I'm trying to live my way like this, and
absolutely.
it just makes you a happier person, more positive person. But yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. So in terms of the move to Edinburgh, You then live together,
Hmm.
um, husband and wife. You're a
Hmm.
stay-at-home husband.
Yeah.
Um, how did you feel that your wife was the moneymaker,
Good.
and how? Yeah, good.
Yeah, it was fun because I cooked and I cleaned, and sometimes she messaged me when she had a night shift and says, Ramon, I'm hungry. And then I took my bite. I made a sandwich for her, took my bike and drove to her to the hospital and just delivered her a fresh made sandwich. It was such a fun time. That was really
Wow.
fun. That
Wow.
was really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm asking because some people they struggle, like some men especially, they struggle to sit at home and let the wife make the money and go to work. And but the fact that I think it also has to do with your upbringing, the mentality,
Mm.
the army, the discipline that you have, the whole life experience that you have, and also at the end of the day, this is not going to be forever.
Yeah.
So
We knew it. Yeah. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
just,
exactly.
we knew it. It's just till she finished her specialty training. And
Yeah.
then at that time, we were already planning a world trip. I don't know if Mariam said this yesterday. We were planning a world trip at that point. So I also used the time to read up in books the best journeys, the best countries to travel. I was looking up into which car like up perfectly for these kind of trips, made for these trips. And so, yeah. And then, of course, at the same time, I got an email from a headhunter in Switzerland who was giving me an offer to work in Switzerland. So I know, like, almost by the end of it, that when Mariam also passed the exam, that most likely we will move to Switzerland.
Yeah, she mentioned yesterday that you had this conversation about staying in the UK, going to Germany, moving
Yes.
to Switzerland. Tell us about the conversations that you have or
So,
had. Why did you leave UK? Why was it not right for you? Why didn't you
mm,
go to Germany?
yeah.
And why Switzerland?
So Scotland is a beautiful country, but it's really wet. And unfortunately, this was really putting me down. Unfortunately, I'm just couldn't. My mood wasn't really made for living in Scotland, unfortunately, because it's a beautiful country. So at some point, even though I always try to sound very optimistic and very happy, but there my mood went a bit down. And then I said to Mariam, I don't think I can live in this country forever. It's just not. Just the weather's not supporting my mental health. And then I got lucky to get this offer from this headhunter to look at Zurich, to the Universitätsspital, the main hospital. I got invited. It was a very sunny, bright day. It was at the. It was just perfect. They invited me for. I remember the food in the cafeteria, and whoever went to Germany in a hospital, they know what German hospital food means. It's rubbish. It's not good food. Even though I'm not a foodie, but that's not a good thing to experience. I don't know why. The food was amazing. The hospital looked amazing. Everything was amazing. And then I said to Mariam, why not moving to Switzerland? So it was for me leaving my home country. For her, it wasn't leaving her home country. So we're meeting somewhere else where both of us are new and we're both leaving behind. So it was for both of us a bit easier, so that nobody of us felt that the other one is having the better, how do you call it?
You wanted
The
a
better
fresh
side, yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but at the end of the day, you wanted a fresh start,
Yeah.
and it was a great opportunity. When I was speaking to Mariam yesterday, we spoke about the NHS, the National Health Service in the
Mm-mm.
UK. That's very struggling. The
Yeah.
health system is not the greatest at the moment. There's not enough funding. There's long waiting hours. And how did you? Was that part of the decision process, or was
Yeah.
it purely
No,
the
no,
weather? Or
no, 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 no. I think at the moment we are healthy, so we are not thinking of us going to the hospitals. But of course, at some point, children will come, and I couldn't imagine that they are in an understaffed system taken care of. I mean, it's what the doctors and nurses and paramedics do in the NHS is insane. Without them, the whole system would break down. I have so much respect for these people. It's they're angels, unhuman, they're superheroes. Because they're working more than anyone can expect of them. They're doing most of it just that they do this, that the whole system doesn't collapse. It's crazy. And unfortunately, the whole system is built on the goodwill of these people and of their good hearts, and that they feeling sorry for the people there.
I've been to A&E once or twice. I had a cut here.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, here, my head here. I might still feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a hole because I was during a fight, which I never start. You know me, I don't start fights.
That sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was walking with a friend of mine, Brighton Beach, and there was those two guys standing there, and one of them approached me and he was like, "Oh, do you have a lighter for a cigarette?" I was like, "No, I don't smoke." And I just continued, me and my friend. And then I just feel like bang on my head. And I turn around.
Oh God.
I look at my friend. I go, "Did he just hit me?" I didn't even, everything happened so fast. And he was like, yeah, he just hit you. And then we started a fight. And then luckily we beat them and they start running.
Okay.
And I tried to run after them, but even though I played football, they were still faster than me. I was surprised, but they were really fast.
Crazy.
But then after that, it all happened so quickly. It wasn't a big deal. But I looked at my friend and he was like, "Oh, Mario, you're bleeding." I was like, "My ear's bleeding." I was like, "My ear's bleeding." I was like, "Oh, okay." So clean everything. I was like, "Oh, okay. This is not where the blood is coming from." And then we found out it's a hole. There's a small hole because he had a lighter in his hand or something in his hand, and then he punched me in the head.
Oh God.
So then, instead of calling an ambulance, waiting, to say that, hours to get picked up. So I was fit to drive, but my friend said, "Oh, he's going to drive." He drove me, went to the hospital. I was bleeding, no kidding, Remon. I was bleeding for 4 hours. Every 5 minutes, I go to the bathroom, wash my head, and just put something on it, like a tissue.
God.
So after 4 hours, they saw me and they start stitching up, and I went home. So it's like, and even my time when I was there, I saw people not even in the rooms. There was not enough rooms. They're in the hallway, in beds, lying down, screaming in pain. Older people, younger people.
Crazy.
So yeah,
it's so sad.
It's, for you is because you compared it with Germany, because you worked in Germany. You know, there's something better out there. But the problem is, and this is also what I mentioned to Mariam, that because you grew up in the UK, you normalize things. You think it's normal to wait 4 hours. It's normal, you know, but people need to wake up. It's not normal.
No. Because I mentioned before that this whole system would collapse if the people are not so wonderful there. I told Mariam this at some point. So she was driving, I'm not joking, in her free time, with her own car, on her own expenses, to do house visitations.
Right.
And she saw it as completely normal. So she was paying her, not even that she didn't get money for it. She used half of her fuel to drive through the rural areas of Scotland, visiting people, taking medically care of them, driving back, and thought this is completely normal. And I said to her, this is not normal. This is just not normal. It's not normal that you pay for working. But they do it. Because first of all, I think they have the feeling that this is part of their duty, that they have to do this for the community, and they don't want to punish the poor people, like these. Otherwise, nobody visits them, like nobody's taking medically care of them. So they are put in these positions. It's not normal. No system can ask of their staff to do that in their free time. It just doesn't make sense.
But I must say that I know people and have friends that work for the NHS, and they do claim the expenses, so the fuel, the traveling. There's some people that claim that. I don't know about Mariam's arrangement, if she just didn't do it or if she.
She tried to do it, but it's, of course, on the other side, there's also a lack of stuff. So to get the money back can take up to 2 years. Of course, you
Right.
can do it and claim it, but also these administration stuff is also understuffed. So it's just a whole funny.
It's a domino
Yeah,
effect.
I mean, to be honest, that's why we do this job, to help people. And we are not doing this to become rich. It's not but I feel the salary is super low compared to what you would earn in the free economy. You spend anyways hours at work, and then using your free time to do more hours, and then paying money to do so, just doesn't feel right at that point. Yeah. And that's why
Yeah.
also one of the reasons why I said, okay, Scotland is just maybe so again in some years, but at the moment not. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And
Mm.
now you get a headhunter reaching out to you from
Mm.
Switzerland.
Mm.
And you said you flew
I
in
flew in.
person in Zurich. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said you liked the food there and
Yeah. Switzerland is a beautiful country, I have to say.
yeah.
It's just, it was, of course, everything was fitting together. It was beautiful sunshine. The people were in the parks and walking around the Zurich Lake, and you see people jumping in the lake and swimming, and it felt like this looks like a holiday place and not really a working place. So the living part of course, Switzerland, I loved it. The medical part is, the system where I'm working at is, yes, it's a private system, and you earn what you work. I would say it like this, because you if you don't want to work, you don't earn much, and if you work a lot, you get a lot, like not a lot, but you get accordingly. Of course, it's again the free economy, you get more. So it's, if you want to become rich, you just don't work in the medical field. That's just, I think, worldwide the same. But I feel I'm I feel I deserve what I see on my paycheck. Let's see it like this. I don't feel I'm not getting enough. I don't feel I'm getting too much. I feel this is a good payment for what I'm doing. So I'm very thankful. I I I, I think that's fair here. Here the salaries are fair. That's what I can say, and that's what I felt from the beginning. In Germany, it's also the medical system itself is good, a very good medical system. But I think for sometimes a little bit underpaid, to be very honest. You do a lot of hours. You do a lot of unpaid shifts. You do a lot of unpaid over hours. I think maybe that's everywhere the same. But here in Switzerland, they're very much into these how do you call it? Employer laws, or what they're called, employment laws, or I don't know the English word for it, where they have
Yeah.
to obey that you have to work a maximum of 10 hours per day, or let's say 60 hours per week or whatever, and every hour more you can claim, or you can take another day off, and so on, and then that's actually quite fair.
Yeah, I understand. And you're very fortunate you have seen the healthcare in 3 different countries, in
Yeah.
UK, in Germany, and Switzerland. Can you make it very in simple terms for someone
Mm.
like me that is not in the
Mm.
medical field?
Yeah.
What are the main differences?
No. So the system in UK is a completely governmental system. The system in Germany is it's like, I would say, a governmental-led private system. So they, for example, say a structure. In this area, there's allowed to be 1 hospital. There's allowed to be 2 family doctors. There's allowed to be 1 gastroenterologist. The structure around it is given by the state, or the city. And in Switzerland, it's a free market, so everyone can open their own praxis. They can, and with this, I would say you have quite a good number of doctors compared to the population. And I think in Germany it's a little bit less, because more and more family doctors, of course, they're retiring, and of course there's also lack of doctors. But I think the hospices are quite good, and it's yeah, it's also still in the private hand. I think quite a good system. And then I think Scotland, because everything is just governmental, it's yeah. I mean, we know this in many fields. When too much is in the governmental hand and not in private sectors, sometimes the government just doesn't know what to do, what's right for the population. Sometimes the private sector just knows it better.
Yeah.
So if I'm a patient in these 3 countries, I would say in UK, you go, you want to a GP appointment, you wait between 1 to 14 days to get an appointment at the GP. He will assess the situation. He will think a lot. Like, he will decide maybe very carefully, because he doesn't really have much in his hand and much things to give. So he will say, okay, good, let's try with painkillers first, or let's try with this treatment first, or let's maybe rest first, and then we can do further investigations. In Germany, you would go to your doctor, and he would say, okay, good, I can refer you, but the waiting time is maybe 2 to 3 months to a specialist, but I refer you. And here in Switzerland, because again, every orthopedic can open their own clinic, every radiologist can open his own MRI institute. So I feel we are a little bit overstuffed here. I can offer my patients normally a specialist appointment within 2 weeks. I can offer them an MRI appointment the next day, sometimes even the same day. So there's so much money inside the system. For the patient, it's quite very, very comfortable.
Okay, so that's now clear to me, the differences between the countries. Now, in terms of seeing it from a doctor's point of view and a patient's point of view, obviously from a patient point of view, it's a much shorter process to get treatment and to be seen by the GP, to be seen by a specialist. But what's the cost of that? Because of the private healthcare sector, myself living also in Switzerland, I pay health insurance. But if you can give us more insight on that. So when a patient comes and see you, do you see anything of that, or is it dealt directly by the insurance?
No, I think we pay a lot. Like, every citizen here in Switzerland pays a lot for this service. To maintain this kind of service, it's very expensive and gets every year more expensive. And here there's no solidarity system, so everyone pays according to their age. So somebody who is, for example, a hairdresser, whose income is 4,000, he has to pay, let's say, 1,000 for him and his family for his health insurance. Somebody who is a CEO in, let's say, Nestle, who's earning, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're getting like 20, 30 millions or something like this, right? He also pays 1,000. So that's, of course, a bit of a joke, let's say it like this. So everyone pays the same amount for the same service, let's say it like that.
Which
And
is
then,
around 1,000, because it's also similar to what we are paying at the moment. It's around 1,000 a month.
yeah, for
family
4
of 4.
people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And in most other countries, you pay a percentage of your salary. So if you earn a lot, you pay a lot. But with this money, you also pay for other people, right? So the CEO of Nestle in UK pays, with his 20 million income, he pays also the NHS for, let's say, 200 other people with him, right?
It's around 5% of your salary every month that goes to the NHS.
Yeah. So you pay, and in Germany it's the same. You pay a percentage of your salary.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I see it unfortunately now this way. I think a lot of unnecessary things are getting done here in Switzerland. So we do way too much investigations. We do way too much surgeries. We're doing way too fast surgeries. I mean, it's a joke. If somebody with a knee pain comes to me, I have a finding of, let's say, a tear menisc. The surgeon sees him 2 days later, and then he has in 2 days later an appointment. That means there's just so much free capacities that everything can be done so fast. It's just not effective. It's not cost effective. And most likely, if he would have done some physio, some painkillers, some anti-inflammatories, he would have gotten the same outcome. So this, of course, is the side effect of that system where there's just no really limitations.
But it's good for patients, right?
It's good and not good because maybe you will get too fast a surgery, even though you shouldn't have gone the surgery.
But why? Why do they go too quick to
Because,
surgery?
for example, we know in arthroscopies, like these surgeries where we look into a joint, we know, for example, that the outcome of the people who do it and the one who don't do it after 3 years are almost the same.
Right.
So if you're not Ronaldo, or I don't know how these Neymar, or I don't know how these good players are called, and you earn your money through doing sports, and you can be maybe handicapped for a little bit, then you can also wait, you know? So,
Yeah.
it's any it's difficult to say it like in a few minutes in a podcast, but I sometimes the patients know they can go get faster results where maybe being patient, maybe changing lifestyle habits, maybe working on yourself is sometimes a better outcome and maybe better for the patient than the quick solution. But because we have so much free capacities, we can always grab the fast solution. So it's me as a doctor. Sometimes I tell the patients, okay, good. If you ask me, I wouldn't do the surgery, but of course, up to you. And I would say 99% of the patients say, okay, good. Now I just get it done and then it's over and done with. And then
That's the thing, right? So you make the recommendation and the patient chooses,
yeah,
and it's having surgery in 2 days' time or just wait, see what happens. And here's the detail that the patients, they have the choice, they have the luxury.
yeah,
When in other countries, like in the UK, for example, they can say, oh, the waiting list is 2 years.
yeah,
Like,
of course.
okay, even if it's a life-threatening thing, you can still wait for a couple of years in some instances. So I would like to go for the point of the GP or of a doctor. So
Hmm.
for anyone who's watching who is a doctor in Germany or in the UK that wants to move to Switzerland,
Hmm.
what is the advice you would give that person? Give us like maybe your top 1, 2, 3 points that if you knew before
Hmm.
you moved, that
Hmm.
would have helped you.
Um, I would say because the system is quite open to everything. The more skills you have, the better you can perform on the market. So, for example, I do minor surgeries and I do internal medicine, and that's why I found like a niche here in Switzerland where not many people do like all this kind of stuff. So get as much skills as you can. Number one. Number two, uh, don't the Swiss people don't like the very direct way of Germans, and that's one thing you really have to learn. Because my background is German, I have to say that maybe first.
Mm.
You have to a little bit adopt their way of dealing with stuff and way of talking to each other a little bit to become accepted. You can't just be the the guy who was coming from Germany, and that's like, I think I also mentioned that about Kenya. Don't go to somewhere and push your way throughout. You always have to be able to learn from somebody else and adopt their ways to become successful. That's number three. Yeah.
But I thought that the Swiss people are also direct. So can you give like an example? Because you said obviously you have a German background.
Mm,
You come from Germany. You
mm,
work in Switzerland.
yeah.
But I thought the mentality, the directness was similar. So can
No,
you
no, not
give
at
an
all.
example?
No, not at all. The Germans are very direct. They would say, "Hey, I'm very unhappy with your job. You should think twice if you would work. You should do that again." In Switzerland, they would say more like, "Did you notice something today wasn't very good? Everything's very gloomy." Or, for example, if a colleague asks you to do something, he would say, "Would you mind to go and do this and this?" In Germany, they would ask you, "Do this and this." So if somebody asks you, like in German words, könnten Sie mal, could you please? It's not a question, it's like an order. Just these kind of things. If you
Right.
phrase it in the German way, we wouldn't really say things so direct.
Yeah.
Sorry. And in Switzerland, we don't say things, or here they don't say things direct. But in their way, they say it very direct. So you have to know these code words and listen a little bit in between the lines.
Right. Okay. And what's your third point?
So I think so. Switzerland is not the country of honey and how you call it, honey and milk.
Yeah.
This country has also their problems. Not everything is gold what is shining. It's it's I think there's some, let's say it like this, ressentiments against foreigners. This can make it very difficult for you to get into the society, get into the system. I'm very lucky because I have maybe people know this, maybe when they watch your podcast, I'm of a Coptic, my background is being Coptic, a Coptic Orthodox Christian. And that's why we are so lucky to have everywhere our community, and we can go anywhere and have directly family and friends anywhere. So I don't really feel like lacking of friends. But if you come here alone and come to this country, it can feel sometimes lonely, because to get into this society can take a long, 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 long time. Especially if you're a social person, this could be a bit difficult.
Did you feel that when you moved? Did you feel like you don't belong, or did you feel like was there any racism?
No, definitely not. I wouldn't call it racism. Yeah, it's our friends have all kind of backgrounds of countries. And even though I speak a fluent German and I'm very open to everything, the amount of Swiss friends are very limited. Even though I would be, as maybe if you got this impression from the whole podcast now, I'm actually quite open to everyone and happy to get to know everyone who wants to get to know me. So I'm quite open about this, but it is a bit difficult to get into this to get a good Swiss connection, like a friend. Let's call it friend, a connection. Let's name it.
Yeah, I understand. It's also one thing before we moved to Switzerland, we researched, and we found out during the research that when you move to more multicultural city or closer to a city, not like a small village in the middle of nowhere, a city, the people are more likely to accept you. You're easier to fit in. So is that what you also try to do, or did you just, because of the recruiter, this is the role, this is the position, this is where you happen to work?
No, because we worked, it was Canton Zurich, and it's very international here, very international. I mean, 90% of our friends are expats, and of course, if you move here, you will get expats friends, most likely. I mean, the first house we lived in, there was a Colombian, a Polish, a British, There was not one Swiss person living in that house. So even in the two neighbor houses, they were just all expats. So there's some community which are full of expats. See this as a positive or as a bad thing. Now, it is just a little bit how this system is here. They need lots of foreign workers, um, good, good, say, uh, good skilled workers, and that's why they have these expats in the Canton Zurich. But I think if you move a little bit out in rural areas, there you will have no. And I can imagine it can get a little bit difficult to get into a bit society. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, now after 9 years, we have maybe, I would call 3 Swiss our friends, which is not a lot.
So you're 9 years in Switzerland already?
Almost 9, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Time flies.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And when you moved, did you tell yourself, okay, this is the when you moved, did you say that's it? This is going to be permanent, or did you say, oh, I will try it out for 1 year, 2 years, and then see what happens?
No. We actually moved here to stay, and we feel very comfortable here. Very comfortable. It's a beautiful country. The Swiss people are beautiful, very nice people. They're a little bit reserved, but I think at some point you will also find a way to get through them if you're not pushing, if you're not trying to if you're not trying to be too much your how do you say it? I wouldn't say you're not yourself, but if you have to be a little bit very much open and more towards becoming a little bit their kind of nature, that they can easier welcome you. Let's say it like this. I have to say it. Maybe be less of you and a little bit more like them to become easier part of their culture. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, don't lose yourself completely, but
Absolutely.
I understand, find the right balance. For
Yeah.
me, it was understanding the holidays they have,
Yeah.
how they say good morning to each
Yeah.
other, how like those little things when I pick up
Yeah.
the kids from school.
Exactly.
This is when they have like their own German,
Yeah.
and they appreciate stuff like that when you try,
Yes, absolutely. That
Yeah.
matters for them. They don't want somebody, some foreigners who push their way and think that's how they can win their friendships. They need you. They need to see that you meet them halfway,
Yeah, absolutely. And
which is absolutely fine.
it's fine because they see what's happening in other countries, right?
Yeah.
Foreigners coming and taking over the country, and
Yeah.
it changes the country, and they trying to be very careful in Switzerland, and especially it's a small country, and so they're just trying to keep I would say the old-fashioned Swiss way, because it's, in my opinion, quite old-fashioned, also bureaucratic, but like you said, it's very beautiful, it's very clean, it's very safe. The healthcare is good. So the most important points, the most important things in life that you need, we have here in Switzerland.
Absolutely.
So I would like to take another step back when you mentioned earlier about the point of view from a doctor's point of view, moving from UK or moving from Germany. So obviously this is also something I've done with Mariam yesterday, and you don't need to disclose your salary. But if there's someone getting a call from a recruiter, what kind of salary would a doctor for entry to mid to senior level get in a range? And can you give us like a breakdown of how the taxes work, what else comes out of your salary, just so people can actually see, is this going to be enough? What can I expect? Is this enough for having a family, or is it only for a single person?
Yeah. So when you're a junior doctor, you get roughly, it depends on which canton you're living, and how many shifts you have and all this kind of stuff. But I would say in total between 6,000 to 8,000 Swiss francs. The first 5 years you pay a direct.
So this is per month, yeah. So 6,000 to 8,000 per month.
Yeah.
This is before tax or after tax?
Exactly. So at the first 5 years you pay a direct tax. They take it from your salary, which is roughly 18 to 20%. And then from this, you pay your health insurance. Most of the time when you're a junior, you maybe pay just for yourself or for your wife or for another person, your partner, and that's roughly 500, 600. Then you have electricity is quite low, house rent is quite high. Maybe you have a car costs are quite high again, but also the public transport abo, the monthly costs are also quite high. I would say in total, all costs, let's say 2,500 for rent, maybe 500 for a car per month, maybe 150 for electricity, handy bill, maybe 100 and all this kind of stuff. Another 500, 3,000, 3,500 with health insurance. And you get, if it's maybe if it's roughly 5,000, that's what you get after taxes, you pay 3,000, 3,500. Right. So you have another 1,000 to save every month, at least. So you can very easy live on one salary as a junior doctor.
Yeah, this is to clarify. So when you say the rent is 2,500, can be a quite bigger apartment, right? Or is this like your studio, one bedroom? Because now you're saying it as a point of view of one single person, or
no. The problem is once you move here to Switzerland, to get the good priced flats is quite difficult. I'm just saying what normally happens. You're applying for a little bit more expensive flats because
so you're saying the worst case scenario,
yeah.
the most it can you so instead of at the end of the month you have 1,000, there could be 1,500, could be 2,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly what you then. If you do your specialty training and you finish it, the salary changes into roughly the double.
Okay, so quite a big jump.
Yeah, between 12 to, I would say, 16,000 per month. Of course, by then most of the time you have kids, you have maybe a private school you have to pay, or a private kita or whatever. Then also the expenses go up. But even the worst case, you have a private kita or a private school with a car and everything, you still can pay everything what you as a single income.
Yeah. So let's say you said 16 to 18.
Yeah. What's that?
Roughly.
What's that? 12 to 8, 6 to 8 at the beginning. Yeah, 12 to 16 roughly. Yeah.
12 to 16. Let's say let's go with the lowest. Let's say 12,000. So
yeah,
we have 12,000. So it's likely that you now have a family with kids. You move into a bigger apartment, so a 4.5 bedroom or 4 or 5 bedroom. How much is the rent roughly?
3,000. Because by then you can also take your time and apply for flats. Right. Maybe 3,500. Plus maybe 1,000 then for the health insurance. That makes 4,500. Again, plus maybe a car, 500. That's 5,000. Plus mobile phones and all these kind of small expense, electricity. Let's say another 1,000, 6,000. What I forgot last time is, of course, you need to eat. Let's say 1,000, 2,000 for what you eat per month. That's 8,000. And let's say the 2 kids go to a private kita. That's roughly 2,000 per month. That's the 12,000.
Yeah. So that's the 12,000, but that's when you go.
Yeah.
The highest of everything.
Yeah.
The schools are free in Switzerland.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go to private schools.
No.
Yeah. You don't need to have 1,000 a month electricity.
No.
It's 1,000 a year. So actually it's roughly 100 a month. So you can expect for a family of 4 to be around 5,000, 6,000, like you said.
Yeah. I would say 5,000 to 6,000 is you can. Yeah. I'm just saying the worst case.
Yeah. So if you want to go all out.
Yeah, exactly. Going out here is super expensive. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about UK, but in Germany you can go out for like 50, 60 or 70 as a small family. Here it will cost roughly 200 to go out. So
Yeah,
that's
I
that,
noticed.
yeah,
Yeah, I noticed anything leisure, anything that's fun,
yeah,
cinema, eating out,
yeah,
anything with the kids.
yeah,
You know, parents like to do things with
yeah,
their kids, like
yeah,
indoor parks. Yeah, prices can be quite
yeah,
high. So I think the average eating out with me, it's around 35 per person,
yeah,
40 per person.
yeah,
With a
exactly.
drink.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
same.
yeah, you have your main, you have a starter, and you have a drink.
Yeah. So if you do this from time to time, of course, it adds up. But
Yeah. Well, how many times do you go out? Do you eat out? How many times per week do you eat out? I go, we go maybe once a month.
yeah, same. We did it much more often when I think 1 or 2 years ago. But then, of course, we tried to reduce a little bit the costs.
Yeah. For me, what's very painful is when you order for the kids and then they don't eat.
Yes, yes,
So it's
absolutely.
also, yeah. But hey, so we go with 6,000 per month. You earn 12,000, and then you have 6,000 per month that you can save. If you want to spend 2,000 per month on going out, restaurants, cinema, having fun,
Yeah.
whatever, and then you can see there's still enough money to live on. Because a lot of people, they say, oh, Switzerland's expensive. Expensive, yes,
Mm,
but also if you have a decent job, you can still save quite a lot of money. You can have a good life.
absolutely.
Okay, so what would be the next step as a senior doctor then?
And then, of course, because you said high end, of course, if you're high end surgeons, you can get up to 1 million per year.
Okay, so that's like, is that when you have your own?
Yeah. You have your own clinic and you have lots of GP who are sending you their patients. You can get up to 1,500,000 like this. Yeah.
Okay, because you said earlier, if you want to be rich, don't become a doctor. But in Switzerland, there's a small.
Yeah, but this is a very small
Yeah,
percentage who's doing this.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
not the normal doctor's life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of the quality of being a doctor, do you feel
Mm.
like you've been taken care of? Does the system protect? You said 10 hours maximum, then you can claim extra hours to get paid more.
This was
Is
as a
there
junior
anything else?
doctor. This is as a junior doctor. Now, as a
Right.
having your own clinic or working in your own clinic, nobody takes care of that, right? You work, but of course, the more you work, the more you earn. The less you work, the less you earn. It's a little bit up to you.
And
Because
mm,
it's a in Germany we call it Tarif. I don't know what the English word for is. It's like a fixed. So, for example, you sit with a patient for half an hour, you can claim half an hour from the health insurance. You pay insurance letter, you can claim this insurance letter. So everything what you're working is you can claim it. So it's quite fair.
okay, so you said this multiple times. You think it's fair. The pay is fair. You
Absolutely.
feel you're in good hands in the Swiss system working as
Absolutely.
a doctor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for any.
I don't think you're underpaid. I think the price tags they're putting on your work is fair. I mean, of course, there can be people who are complaining that's not enough, but I mean,
There's always people saying it's not enough.
yes, I mean, I can. So I'm a family of, we are four. We never had a money issue in this country. I never had to get empty stomach or having a stomach pain into the bed because I don't know how to pay my bills. So this whole subject of worry about money, I never had this 1 second in this country.
I think this is also an important part because especially doctors, nurses,
Hmm.
teachers, police, these are the backbone of the country and they
Yeah,
should be taken care of, not just by financially, but also protected by the government.
yeah,
And this is where I feel like sometimes in some countries this is missing, and this is something that we have in Switzerland, I think.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great. So now that for anyone that's watching, that's thinking to move to Switzerland, become a doctor or work as a doctor in Switzerland, you have a range of the salary you can expect. You see firsthand from Remon that you're being taken care of, that a certain salary between even from a junior to senior, you still can live a good life. Is there anything else, Ramon, you would say for anyone that wants to work as a doctor in Switzerland that we haven't mentioned?
No, not really, no. I think that's...
Yeah. Okay, great. So now I have something for you at the end, which I call rapid fire, Ramon.
Mhm.
We are at the end of the podcast. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions,
Mhm.
which you need to answer in 1 sentence only.
Okay, I
Yeah.
mean, I just a quick heads up. Yeah, I woke up at 5 o'clock and it's now 11 o'clock. I don't know if my brain is functioning fast now, but just try.
You don't need to function fast. You just
Okay,
need to do it in 1 sentence.
okay.
And sorry that we are a bit long over
No,
time.
no. Oh, good. It was fun to talk to you. I'm just saying that my brain is now a bit slow.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm not the one that has to answer the question. So
Okay.
good luck. So 1 emotional truth you learned this year.
Emotional
1
truth.
emotional truth you learned this year.
Try to be. I have to say it. Okay, sorry. I would say try to be the strong part, even though you don't feel, because you never know how the other side feels. Doesn't matter if it's a patient. Doesn't matter if it's a colleague. Very often we tend to be the one to complain, but sometimes we just have to be the person who takes the complaint and digests it to make the other one feel better.
Wow, that's deep. 1 lesson every doctor should know before moving country or moving to Switzerland. We've touched base on that, but 1 particular thing a doctor should know before moving to Switzerland.
Yeah. Don't be too direct. Be open-minded and try to meet the Swiss people in their Swiss way halfway. Yeah, that's what I would say. So
1 funny moment from your early days in Switzerland.
funny moments. I mean, there was a billion misunderstandings. So the word for smelling is schmecken. And I was in the theater and was doing surgery. And then they were saying the whole time, es schmeckt nach, es schmeckt nach. And in my head, I was like, did somebody taste that patient who was lying there on the bed and getting surgery at? And then I think after the 10th time somebody says, es schmeckt nach, I was like, guys, what are you guys talking about? I never tasted anything of this patient. What were you saying schmecken? And then the guy said, okay, schmecken means smelling and not tasting. Because in Germany we say schmecken as in tasting, and riechen, which is smelling. And here it was very funny. But in that moment where there was somebody unconscious laying on a theater table, and they talked about schmecken the whole time, and I find this quite disgusting. Yeah, maybe.
This is so funny. It's
Yeah,
you think German is German, but actually some words are completely different.
completely different.
I was in the post office yesterday
Yeah.
to send off a letter,
Mm.
and I needed an envelope.
Yeah.
And
Oh yes.
what did she say? You need a Groupon or group? So I don't know. I didn't get the word. I was like, I don't need a code. She's like, no, you cannot send. You cannot send the letter like this. I was like, but I don't need a Groupon. I don't need a voucher.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh no, I'll show you. And then I was like, oh, Umschlag in German.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
what you mean. It's funny sometimes. Okay, so question number 4. One Germany versus Switzerland difference that still surprises you.
Still surprised me. I think after 9 years, I would say I got used to everything, which I'm really struggling to live with is a little bit the fact that you can be very close to people at work. You can be very close to your colleagues, but that the next step, becoming a friend, is super, super, super difficult and can take like years. Let's say 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It's something which is a little bit bizarre because you meet maybe an expat, and by the end of the day you say, "Hey, let's have a drink together," and then you just go and have a drink. But this this that colleague you're working for years and years and years, you will so difficult to get into this position to
Why
do
is
something
that?
private. I have
Do you
no
know why?
idea. I have no idea. And this something I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just that their
it is what it
mentality.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the last question is the hardest one. Are you ready?
Oh God, yes.
One moment with Miriam, your wife, you will never forget. Let's see if you answer the same question the same way.
I mean, to be very honest, we had a billion times. I will never forget, and I don't want to forget, even if I have dementia. But because we went through really a lot of wonderful things. Maybe the craziest was on our world trip when we were in the middle of Montenegro on a mountain and saw there the sunset, and we were both shitting our pants because there were no lights for driving down, because the streets were not lightened. It was a gravel. And I
Okay.
was so sure that these are the last moments of our lives because I didn't think we're going to survive the driving back on this road, and we couldn't sleep on the top of the mountain. I think that's embranded in me. It was a beautiful moment, but I
Well,
was really afraid of what's happening after this moment.
you know,
But we made it somehow in one piece. The car made it in one piece. And then we arrived in the beautiful, beautiful small village, fisherman village, and had amazing
well,
food there. But I think this was when Mariam and I grew so close to each other, because when you go through these kind of stuff, you become quite much of a unit.
yeah, amazing story. Just so you know, she said your wedding day.
I mean, yes.
But your story was also super, super interesting.
Yeah, the wedding day. The wedding day. No. The most important thing was the wedding day.
But yes, it was a day that you won't forget in a way, but also Montenegro driving down the mountain for survival. So, hey, it was a good answer. If it was any other answer, I would have said, hey, careful. But you had a good answer.
Okay.
Remon, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time, for being here,
Thank you
and for opening up. And yeah, I know it's super late, but we have both kids. So we have to put the kids to sleep, and then we have time to talk. Yeah, hope we see each other probably Sunday.
I'm going. Are you going?
I think I'm going.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Ramon. Appreciate your time. And yeah, have a really good evening.